You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 8th, 2025 meeting of the LaPorte County Sheriff Merit Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the January 8th, 2025 meeting of the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department. Is this the 8th or the 9th?
The 8th.
8th, okay. I guess I had the wrong date on my sheet. I apologize. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Following that, if you remain standing for a moment of silence for Roger Speakman, former merit officer and jailer who passed away. Jim, if you would.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I didn't know if we should have added a moment of silence for the Green Bay Packers or not, but just do that quietly by yourselves. So, we have several topics for the merit board that we need to move on before we can proceed with the normal procedures. With this being the first of the year, we have to select officers for the merit board for the 2025 year. So I will open up for nominations for president.
I nominate Jim Kimmel.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Nominations for vice president.
Nominate Laura
Francis.
Yes.
My second.
Okay. We have any other motions for vice president? Hearing none.
The motion? Second.
Yeah, did you second it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, thank you. Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you. For the position of secretary, any nominations?
I nominate Louise Mock.
Any other nominations? Do I have a second on Louise Mock?
Second?
Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Thank you. Also, just for the record, Louise is not here, Louise Mock is not here, and Laura Francisconi, but we still have a quorum, so we can proceed. The other thing we have to vote on is the pension board. That's a 4-year term. A representative from the merit board is assigned to the pension board. I was on that, but I expired. Well, not really expired. I guess my time expired on the pension board. So we need to select one of the 5 of us to go on to the pension board. Do I have a nomination for that?
Nominate Jim Kimmel.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Let's see. We want to, from the board, we want to thank everyone from the ranks of the merit division who submitted the nominations for the Beyond the Expected Award. I mentioned this before, and we received more nominations in the past year than we have ever. Matter of fact, collectively it may have been more than what we've received ever in the past. So thank you for recognizing those merit officers that are out there doing their jobs and going beyond that. So we will announce the selections at the awards party on the 25th of this month. The other thing is, by policy, we are required to announce the dates for the promotional process. That will take place in 2025. We'll use the same company and testing procedures as we used in 2023. The major will post the deadline to advise the sheriff you intend to interview and test for promotion, as well as when the books will be available to be picked up. The dates that we have to vote on today, for the dates for the merit board interviews, which will begin each day at 9 a.m., will be Tuesday, October 14th, Wednesday, October 15th, and Tuesday, October 21st. Is that a problem for anyone that you know this far out?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. I have a motion to accept those dates.
Second.
I have a okay, have a I need a motion. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay. The last thing is the date for the promotional testing, pending any problems that the major had was contacting the company. The date for the promotional testing will be Tuesday, November the 18th. So can I have a motion to accept that date?
Motion to accept that date.
A second.
Have a second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, same. Whew, we got that all done. Good morning, Sheriff.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. Happy belated birthday, by the way, too.
Thank you very much. I thought you were going to say something about my Irish, but I guess not.
No, you know what? They're looking good. I'm going to give them credit. They're playing much better than I thought they would go into this late postseason.
I agree. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night and we'll go from there. So with that being said, thank you for being patient and letting us get the preliminary stuff out of the way, and then we'll move on to yours.
Well, thank you, and I want to thank you for that moment of silence for Sergeant Roger Speakman, longtime employee of the Sheriff's Office. Roger was a highly decorated Vietnam War soldier, Marine Corps veteran. He did and seen some things that many of us would never realize in his time in Vietnam. Roger was a mountain of a man for us who knew him. You always knew where you stood with him. He didn't care if you were the sheriff or the newest guy on the department. He wasn't afraid to tell you what he was thinking. But he was very respected, not only by the men and women of the sheriff's office, but also by the inmates as well too. Respected him, and he will be missed. And we thinking of his family, his wife, and his three sons, Justin, Jordan, and Jason. Jason, who's a Trail Creek police officer. So they're in our thoughts and prayers. I'm going to skip to item number 2 real quick, and we'll get this promotional approval request out of the way. This is to the Sheriff's Merit Board, whereas applicant Adam Needles, a member of the department eligible for the rank of probationary patrolman, except as in noted waiver request Form G, if any attached, has been found to made the highest grade written examination, years of service grade, and service rating grade total, as per report on the LaPorte County Sheriff's Department eligibility list, published by the Sheriff's Merit Board. In my opinion, he appears to have all the necessary attributes to properly discharge his duties in the rank sought. I hereby respectfully request the approval of the board for his promotion to that rank, effective 12/21 of 24.
I have a motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve.
Questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go back up to item number 1, and our calls for service between November and December decreased. Our calls for service between the 2 months pretty much remain neutral, from 1,895 in the month of November to 1,904 for the month of December. We saw a significant decrease in our crash reports, from 129 to 93. We saw a slight increase in our traffic stops from 669 to 698. And we saw a huge decrease in the number of car deer crashes from 63 to 27. And none of this really comes to a surprise. We're going to see a decrease in the calls for service due to the time of year. The crash decrease doesn't come to a surprise because we haven't seen the severe weather or the snow that we normally seen, and obviously the deer season is over with, and that's another reason. Year to date, we saw, again, we're still about a 9% decrease from over 2024. From 2023, in which we had 28,199 calls year to date, compared to last year with 25,718. So we're about 9% lower between the 2 years. Nothing earth-shattering. With it being the first of the year and our calls for service and stats that I've been providing you, Administrative Assistant Becky Popple has begun the task of working on the 2024 annual report. We usually see that come out about mid-February. So, Merit Commissioner Louise Mock, who's not here today, her term expired at the end of last year. We reached out to her, and she has agreed to a new 4-year term. So we look forward to her working with us into the future. Deputy Daniel Diaz, who recently graduated from NYLEA, continues to do very well in the FTO program, and we're very pleased with his progression. New Deputy Adam Needles completed the physical assessment testing at NYLEA on Friday, January 3rd. He passed with no issues, and he will begin his training this upcoming Monday on January 13th. So we're excited about that. Yeah. And he is obviously the last one that we need to fill our ranks, and hopefully we'll have him solo going into the summer, and we should be good.
I'm glad you were able to get him into the class. I know at one point there was a question.
He was on the waiting list and was able to get in, so we were very fortunate.
Good. Thank you.
We've begun our yearly in-service training. This will allow everyone to get their state-mandated training complete. I'd like to thank Captain Heineck and Sergeant Wallace for their work on this. By doing it this time of year, out of the vacation season and everything else, we're able to complete this training at no cost of overtime to the department. So everybody will get their mandated, state-mandated training done and out of the way for the year. On Friday, December 13th, a member of the Sheriff's Office worked several shifts at the Al's East location here in LaPorte for the Salvation Army bell ringing. It was something that we've been doing for several years. I'd like to thank Sarah Fish and Jeannie Croslin, Chief Ott, Captain Smythe, Captain Hahn, Captain Allen, Captain Heineck, Detective Doporowski, Detective Coach, Detective Pishker, Detective Deck, Detective Gorney, Becky Popwell, and Julie Bookva for their volunteerism and their help with that program. I think they were out there for a good 6 hours ringing the bell at the Al's East location. So I stopped in there for a few minutes as well too, and it's a good time to hang out and the people coming in and interacting and everything. So yep. On Thursday, December 19th, members of the office participated in the annual toy drive at the Salvation Army in Michigan City. There is a letter of appreciation from Captain Heineck in regards to that, which I will read at the end, and it will list the individuals who participated in that as well too. It's another good time, and I know the Salvation Army of Michigan City is very thankful for our volunteerism and assistance that we provide for them. The 61st Annual Sheriff's Office Children's Christmas Show took place on Saturday, December 14th, and was held in the auditorium at Kessling Middle School. We had a good turnout, not as much as the year that we had before, but all the kids had a great time. They were treated to a magic show by magician Matt Kalita, and then afterwards they were able to see Mr. and Mrs. Claus and get a present and some goodies to go home with. All the leftover toys from that were donated to the Toys for Tots. And as a reminder, all proceeds, we seek donations and sponsorship and support for this every year. And all the leftover proceeds go to the Neil Thompson Memorial Scholarship Fund. So it does continue to support that. Great program. I want to thank Chief Ott, Captain Allen, Captain Hahn, and Captain Smythe for their time and assistance with that program that morning. We received a nice donation grant, more to speak, from Norfolk Southern Railroad to the drone program. I want to thank Detective Jake Coates for this continued work within the program. I'm not going to, there's a couple other donations I'm going to mention to the sheriff's office. I'm not going to mention the amount, but I just would like to acknowledge that we did receive grants. And I'm not going to mention the amount because some of these I want to keep private due to the significance of some of these donations and grants. But I want to thank Detective Coach for his donation or his work within the drone program. For this significant donation from Norfolk Southern. It's, as you can see in your notes, it's pretty significant and it will help the drone program into the future. We have received several other donations through the course of December from the following. There was a nice contribution to the Neil Thompson Scholarship from Linda Bixler, who's Neil's sister. She always donates to the scholarship fund every year. As a reminder, Linda is Neil's last remaining surviving relative. So we received a nice fund canine donation from the estate of Phyllis McVickers. I was reached out by a lady who was the heir of the state and it was the executor of the will, so to speak, and wanted to make that donation to us. We received a nice donation for the canine fund from a Sandra, I'm going to pronounce this name wrong, Ballowin of Michigan City. And then we also received a nice donation from Ton and Blank Construction to our Marine Patrol as well too. So we did receive several nice donations to the Sheriff's Office during the month of December. Very thankful for that. As a reminder, a lot of these funds and a lot of these programs are funded strictly through donations and no cost to the taxpayers. As a reminder, the annual Sheriff's Office Awards Banquet and Holiday Party will be on Saturday, January 25th. If you guys have not RSVP'd, probably get with me in the near future to make sure we have you and your spouse down. As in years past, there's no cost. The chief and I split the cost to enable the spouses to come at no cost as well too. So we look forward to having everybody there and look forward to another great evening. I do have a couple of emails and letters of commendation that I like to quickly highlight. As I said, one was from Captain Hynek, LaPorte County Sheriff's Board, and Sheriff Heeg. On Thursday, December 19th, members of the Sheriff's Office participated in the annual toy drive at the Salvation Army of Michigan City. Local residents who have found themselves in need are able to get some toys, food, and warm clothing for their families. Every year, our agency is represented by members eager to lend a helping hand. I can attest that this is truly a humbling experience during the holiday season. I like to recognize the below agency members who participated from the LaPorte County Sheriff's Office. One was myself, Captain Allen, Detective Coach, Detective Pishker, Detective Doporowski, Detective Deck, Property Room Manager Miley Peoples, and our SVOR Coordinator Melissa Unger. Thank you for allowing me to recognize these members, Captain Hynek, Chief of Detectives. And then finally, I received an email from LaPorte County EMS. It's a lengthy email, so I'll just kind of highlight it and to the recognition that on December 29th at approximately 12:30 in the morning, paramedics were dispatched to an address on National Boulevard in Michigan City for a full arrest male. LaPorte County Sheriff's deputies, Sergeant Lanou, deputies Wells and Howe, assisted EMS with this. They were able to keep the individual alive long enough so his organs could be harvested. And it was because of the assistance of our deputies, because the other paramedics or the other crews were busy at that time and they needed the assistance. And they just were very appreciative that our officers took the time to assist them to help keep this individual alive long enough so they could harvest his organs. So that was very nice. Our next meeting will be on February 12th, and we'll have a pension board meeting following that as well. And that's all I've got for you today.
Thank you, Sheriff. Are there any comments from the floor?
Since Dallas isn't here, I'll take over. I just wanted to briefly let you know that the sheriff and EMS and some members of dispatch, we're putting together a county-wide initiative for peer support, essentially to try to combat PTSD and things of that nature. So whether it be a fireman, a medic, or one of our officers, or LP officers, or MCPD, essentially putting together a group, and we'll all coordinate with one another to respond if someone's in crisis or wants to talk or do any of these things. Peer support essentially is designed to where you can talk to someone who actually understands what you're going through, but kept anonymous and things of that nature. So we've really just started putting this together, but I am on that advisory board, and many thanks to Sergeant Lear, who of course for mental health reasons, he's our guru on all of that. And Sheriff Heeg always supports things like this. But as far as people behind the scenes, Dispatcher Amanda Doris is the one who really streamlined a lot of this. She's got a binder about that thick of resources in her studies. She had the program started in EMS last year and then branched it out with Jen Sabian EMS. And those two women really just skyrocketed it into an actual countywide initiative. So there will be more to come, but I just wanted to put you guys on notice on that one. Okay?
Any other comments from the floor? Comments from the floor?
I like my job too much.
Jim, you have anything today?
I just want to kind of hit on Roger Speakman. When I started in the jail 17, 18 years ago, he was a sergeant there, and I immediately respected that guy. He was just a great person. He was rough and gruff, but you really respected him immediately, and just want to honor him and just thank him for his service to the county, and prayers with his family.
Thank you. Going over this, once again, we say this often, but probably not often enough, about just how much the men and women of this department do for this community. They are true ambassadors to the community to make sure that they know the community feels good, that the men and women of this department are out there for them. Everything you do with the magician up at Kessling, and the food drive and the toy drive and everything else, the first responders of LaPorte County are absolutely unbelievable. Not saying that no other counties don't do it, but obviously living in the county, we see it firsthand. I know a couple weeks ago, not really surprised, but glad to see him out there up at 421 and 20. Probably one of the most busy intersections of the county. First responders that were up there with their 5-gallon buckets taking donations for Salvation Army, and I know there were several from the Sheriff's Department up there, along with Michigan City Fire, Michigan City PD, and just civilian volunteers. So 'tis the season to be giving, and I think everybody gave plenty of time, including those who stood ringing the bells at the kettles and that. I think that all goes well. So Derek, I want to thank you for doing that. Being former not really a first responder, but in criminal justice at the prison, I know when staff go through a crisis that there's always a need to have somebody there, but more important, have somebody there you trust. It's very simple to sit there and say, we're going to bring in somebody from the mental health end, and they walk in cold off the streets and they have no clue what's going through your mind, what's happened. They don't know, and the success of those type of programs is zero because nobody responds. They sit in the chair and they don't say a word. Where if someone walks into the room and sees a face that they can associate with, that's been there, that's done that, and they have the confidence that they can talk to them and confidence to help them get through that. It's well needed, and I applaud you and the team for getting that done. Thank you. There's nothing else. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second? Have a motion second. All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Meeting adjourned at 9:28. Thank you.